Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be doing an Allosaurus build and PvP video. I mean, you've probably seen the title and thumbnail, so you know what I'm talking about. This video has lots and lots of amazing PvP videos, which could not be possible without this guy right here. Now let's go ahead and begin the build. For our head slot, I know this might be a bit controversial, but we're actually going to be using Hatchet Bite, which does amazing bleed. Straight onto our sensors, we're going to be using Fresh Blood. This is a no-brainer. I forgot to equip Hatchet Bite, by the way. But also, in our front limb slot, we're going to be using Claw Attack, which just supplies more bleed. Swiftly turning to our hide, we're going to be using Resilient Scales, just gives us more bleed resistance. Long Distance Runner is game changing. Strong Legs is good, but Long Distance Runner is just a bit better. Last but not least, we're going to be using Tail Attack, which is great for making distance. I hope you liked the build. Now let's jump into the PvP. Our first fight is pretty easy, just to get a warm up. We're going to be fighting a Concavenator, which is basically a mini Allo. Now let me tell you why Hatchet Bite and Tail Attack is such an amazing combo. First of all, right, you do like a minute of bleed every Hatchet Bite, so it just adds on and it's so good, especially with Claw Attack, which just amplifies the bleed. Also, Hatchet Bite does the same damage as normal bite, but it's going to be changed in the next update. The fight is very easy and repetitive, so I'll just speed it up by a little bit. Luckily, he got stuck on me, so I was able to secure the kill. Now on to our next fight. I'm now going to fight an Achillobator, also known as a mob boss. And you may be asking yourself, why is it called a mob boss? Well, let me explain. But before I do...
Nice!
Now let me explain. So it's called a mob boss because when it groups with small raptors like Latanovenatrix and Deinonychus, it can buff them like crazy. Okay, we're running a bit off topic, so let's continue on to the fight. Again, the fight is simple, just attack him every time he comes in, and he should die eventually, either to bleed or a final shot. Unfortunately for him, I chose to do it with a final shot and not bleed, leading us to our next fight, which is in fact a Ceratosaurus. This is a small to medium sized brawler with a bone crushing bite. As you can see, I could just throw my weight around since I could just absolutely bully him. I just want to pause the video to give you a fun fact. Allosaurus and Ceratosaurus actually lived together roughly 160 million years ago, during the Jurassic period. That Ceratosaurus is using a charged bite, meaning he can inflict fracture if he lands it. You could probably tell that the dinos fights in this video are ascending in combat weight order, meaning the further in the video, the bigger the dinosaurs. His very unnecessary jump resulted in him taking massive damage. After landing a clean shot, I take a moment to get rid of the chat before he turns into venom. Whatever that was, it scared the hell out of me. And I probably don't even know the video will render it. Another clean Hatchet Bite puts him on death scars, and I could let him bleed out, or I could finish him with a bite, but I decided I wanted to finish him with a tail attack. Unfortunately, the bleed beat me to the kill, leading us to our next fight. Now we're fighting a Pycnonemosaurus, a fast, agile, hit and run playstyle dinosaur. Let me teach you a little trick which will help you in PvP. First of all, you need to analyse your opponent. People don't use this enough and it's really good. You need to analyse your opponent. See, my opponent, a Pycno, is very fast and agile and it wants its distance when it needs it. The next step is just to completely bully it. Make sure it doesn't have its freedom. And in this case, he wants distance and freedom, but I won't let him have it. Unlike his combat weight, he's got like, I think it's 500 health. I'll probably put it on the screen when I find it out. But yeah, he's got like minimal health, so it's easy to just drain his health and kill him. Also, another tip is to realise your tail, because sometimes your tail goes right to left, and sometimes your tail goes left to right. You need to figure that out and use it to the best of your ability. As I'm exiting the fight, to get more distance, he bleeds out and dies, leading us to our next fight. Our next fight is going to be against a Lambeosaurus, something with amazing healing capabilities, which can be cancelled out by a bleed, and a devastating rodeo kick as seen here. Although it's quite easy to dodge, it does have a fast cooldown, being like 2.5 seconds, so I've got to watch out for that. Similar to Pycno, this thing doesn't have as much health as its predecessors like Daspletosaurus and Albertaceratops, something around its size. Little disclaimer, this whole fight is just going to be a turn and battle. And this player was using shove, so shouldn't be too hard, right? And before you ask, yes, I did not know he was going to hit me there, but it is what it is. It doesn't matter how much damage I take, because as long as I get a good amount of bleed on him, he'll be screwed. As the Eternal Circle continues and he keeps on bleeding, I'm able to dodge a rodeo kick to get a fatal blow to his legs, furthermore finishing the kill. Now I'm fighting the medium-sized bone-crushing carnivore Daspletosaurus, but for this fight he was using Heavy Bite. He can easily kill me, so I gotta make sure to keep my distance and keep him bleeding, also while dodging his Heavy Bite. While I turn around and land a clean bite, he goes Rage mode. This increases his damage output drastically, and if he hits me with 1 or 2 Heavy Bites, he'll put a lot of damage into me. I almost dodged his Heavy Bite, he just barely got me on the tail. My best bet is to keep the distance and keep him bleeding. Unfortunately, keeping my distance isn't a good option because Daspletosaurus is almost as fast as me, if not faster. Meanwhile, it's the only choice I have. After my nice reflexes granted me a dodge, I got a nice hit on his body. As you can see, he's dealing amazing damage and it's really hard to get him away from me. Me and him are on death scars now. One slip up from me or him can cost our lives. Luckily, I used my hatchet bite too early and the drag of the bite got him just in time. And a lucky tail hit finished the fight. Now I'm fighting an Albertaceratops, a medium-sized herbivorous ceratopsian which deals amazing damage with his kick. As you can see, he pops his buff call a bit early. I quickly followed up by baiting his kick beautifully. Unfortunately, as I turn, I miss and he gets a nice kick. Fast forwarding about a minute or so, I got some nice hits in and he's barely hit me. As you can see, he's bleeding heavily, but he has got really good bleed resistance. So I need to keep on applying bleed so he keeps it on. Just then, as I turn back around, I get a nice hit to his body and he misses. I dodged his kick and got a nice hit with my tail. I can see he's having trouble turning, so I give him some time to readjust. The fresh blood icon at the bottom here indicates that he's still bleeding. As you can see here, it's just a turning battle and whoever gets the best amount of hits. Just at the 8-minute mark of the video, he drops down and we're able to begin our next fight. Now we're fighting a Miragaia, possibly one of the strongest mid-tier herbivores in the entire game. It produces toxic barbs on its tail which can inflict you and it does so much damage, it's crazy. I'll show you that just in a sec. This right here is the debuff. It takes away around 20% of your health unless you recover. He's got another debuff up his sleeve, which only happens once but is really devastating. Yes, he just spat at me. Luckily, this fight is simple. Just get in front of him and make sure you don't get hit by his tail barrage too much. He just gave me paralysis. That's a debuff which puts me into a shock for about 2 seconds. Luckily, I just barely got away before I could actually do something with it and I was able to continue. Nice clean hit lands to his body and I smacked him right across the face, but so did he. What is that black stuff on you, you may ask? It's the debuff that I was talking about earlier. Just remember that you can finish these fights with bleed, it's just that it's very boring for the video. A silly mistake from him leads to his death, leading us to our next fight. Our next fight will be against an Iguanodon. This guy has powerful arms which can do devastating damage, and don't forget about his back kick. I dodge his tail and back kick, leading to amazing damage to his head. I've got to be mindful that this player has block. The fight is just a rinse and repeat of dodging his tail and back kick and then going in for a nice hit. Also, his knockback is insane, almost as good as a Marg's. I get impatient and get punished with a nice back kick. And just like that, some great camera movement lands a great hit on his head, even while he's bipedal. I attempt it again, but he's too far. I get a nice claw and he somehow hits me there. I don't exactly know how, but it is what it is, I guess. A nice hatchet bite leaves him on death scars, and I could let him bleed out, but that's boring. As a result of my own foolishness, he gets a nice kick to me. Just like that, a clean tail attack to his body finishes the fight. Now we're fighting an Amargasaurus. Cue the flashbacks. As you can see, Amargasaurus can easily kill Allo, but it can go vice versa. As long as you dodge its whip-like tail, you should be okay. Bear in mind that the Amarg stomp is equivalent to 4 tail slaps. And I got a beautifully placed hatchet bite on his head there. Just as I turn, he goes for a stomp, which I easily evade. Bang! Another great hatchet bite. I have to be extremely careful with the stomps, and I'd much rather take a couple of tail attacks than a stomp. And yes, my phone went off, sorry about that. And just before he connected his tail, I got a nice hatchet bite to his back leg, putting him on death scars. That is the perfect dodge ever. Dodges straight through the stomp, again a nice hit to his head. A nicely connected tail attack ends the fight. Our next fight, however, is a Suchomimus, a formidable opponent with a devastating claw barrage. I land a nice bite there. The main way to fight a Suchomimus is to make sure he doesn't charge up or stack up his claw barrage. At this point in the video, CapCut decides to be very laggy. And just like this, creating distance so his claw barrage goes away. At this point, I realise it's probably ran out, so I hit him with a beautiful, beautiful break check bite. Luckily, claw barrage stacks up, so his first 3 to 4 claw barrages ain't very strong. I keep on saying this, but as long as I keep the bleed going, it should be okay. Just want to take a moment to appreciate the love and support you guys are giving me. Again, my Discord link is in the description. I'll probably say that at the end of the video anyway, but hope you're having an amazing day and enjoy the rest of the video. As you can tell, he's already death scarred, which is just crazy. It's quite a repetitive playstyle. We're nearing the end of the fight now, don't worry. I attempted another one of those moves, but I just miss again. Wait. Let me try it one more time. Bang. That's it. On to the next fight. It's Stego time now, baby. Like the Amargasaurus in the previous video, your tail blocks his charge tail. And holy hell, can I not speak? Jesus. Stego is probably the most dangerous dino on this fight. Stego is really powerful, so I've got to be very careful. He tries to corner himself on a wall, but I know better than that, so I just leave and wait for him to come out of the wall to continue. Similar to some of the other fights in this video, this fight is very long and repetitive, so I'm going to speed up a little. Same process really, just dodge his tail, get some hits in on his tail, keep the bleed going, and you should be okay. Stego fights are usually long, especially his Allo. And there's a beautifully timed hit and dodge right there. Also, I feel like Stego should get more bleed. I mean, it literally has spikes at the end of his tail. What I was saying earlier about not bleeding him out because it was boring, well, I'm going to bleed him out now. So I bled him out for a bit until I almost lost all my stamina. Fortunately, I had to continue fighting because I need the bleed to stay on him to actually bleed him out, as if it wasn't that obvious. Just like that, a nice hit made him flop and brings us into the next fight. I decided I want to fight a Ceratosaurus, which didn't end very good. For him. And that is the last fight, and a good fight to end it off at the very least. A quick rundown though, so I basically used the same technique I used when fighting a Suchomimus, and I just baited out his claw barrage, and just ran away, and kept that going, and I slowly got the victory. We've now reached the end of the video. I really hope you enjoyed. I put lots of work into this video, probably more work than the Amargasaurus video to be fair. My Discord link is in the description. I recommend joining it, it's a nice Discord. I just updated it so it's a lot better. But as always, really hope you enjoyed the video. Have an amazing day.